Hi, welcome to Coffee with Tracey. I'm your host, Tracey Osborne. With me today is Wendy Nicole Anderson. I have been so excited to talk to her. I've been watching her on Facebook, and I'm like, girl, I can't wait to talk to you. She just seems like so much fun. So this is going to be an awesome episode. We are going to talk about the 5 things that ruin most service-based entrepreneurs. So I can't wait to hear what she has to say about those, and I'm sure I have a few I can add to that.
Yes.
Wendy Nicole, is a diaper-slaying mompreneur of 2 tiny humans who teaches service-based entrepreneurs how to monetize their ideas and expertise and streamline their businesses to systematically attract, convert, and retain paying clients with ease. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited. All right, let's dive into this because I'm dying to know, what are the 5 things that are going to kill my business?
So there's a couple of things. I will go through them and then we can dive into. I'm going to allow this to be a Q&A, but I'm going to go through them. So the number 1 thing is no client intake form. The number 2 thing is no option for clients to pay or schedule on the spot, especially if you are a service-based entrepreneur. 3, no structured sales conversation that will guide the prospect to say yes and pay on the spot or commit to the investment. Number 4, no fulfillment game plan. Number 5, no follow-up or nurture plan of action. So I'm going to go through these and break them down one by one, but I kind of wanted to give you guys an expectation of what we were going to be talking about. See, these are the fundamentals, which we like to call them, it's not sexy, standard order of operations. And people like to kind of dismiss it. And so no client intake form. One of the things that's important inside a business, especially if you want to work with the right clients, it's important that you're able to set expectations and qualify your leads. If I'm Susie Homemaker and I want to work with Wendy, but I'm interested in what Wendy has, and it just starts the relationship off wrong. It's a lot of back and forth. I'm having to ask you a lot of questions. There's no baseline to follow. But with the client intake form, it can be if they just want to talk to you for the first time for a 30-minute complimentary session, you need a client intake form if the client has paid you. Now, after they paid you, there's other information that you need to extract from that client so that you can make sure that you deliver on the promise that your product and service said, so reason why the client paid you. And what frustrates me the most is that when I want to work with someone, every client has a thousand questions. And I believe that if you are good at what you do and if you say you can deliver, you ought to know what questions you need to ask me to get me focused.
Yep.
And if I'm coming to you and there's no systematic approach for us to even determine if I'm going to hire you, to me, that's a problem. Okay.
That's a huge problem.
That's a problem. So you want to set the expectations. When people come to my website and they click a link and they see that there are 17 questions that they have to answer in order to get access to my calendar to speak with me, that sets an expectation. One, I need to know these things so that I can determine if I can even help you and if whether or not I have anything in my arsenal that's going to help you get to your ultimate goal. I want to make sure that when I take on a client that I can take you from 0 to 100, not just give you a little bit and then leave you at a disarray. A lot of people don't think things 100% through. Also, if there's no client intake form, then I'm just going to be fielding questions. And then I need to look and see when I see your results. A lot of times people look at information, but I look at what you didn't say to me.
Ooh, I like that.
And those are things that I will ask you about because it's not on the form, because those are red flags that we need to address before we can determine if you want to hire me.
So let me stop you here really quick. So when you're talking about a client intake form, you're talking about an actual form on your website. I have one of these as well that asks a series of questions people have to answer so that you can gather the information before you even get on a phone call, correct?
Right, correct.
Okay, so this isn't the form that you have before you're on the call. And some people have this too, where they actually get on the call and they have a list of questions
I don't
that
do
they
that
ask
because
people.
to me
I don't do
that wastes time. To me, a lot of people love me because they feel like, oh my God, Wendy, you don't waste any time. You get right down to the nitty gritty. I don't care if it is a free call. That's a part of my positioning. By the time you get on the phone with me, I pretty much know where our time needs to be focused. I would say to you, on average, I normally, after that person fills out the form, I only have to talk to them about 10 or 15 minutes, and they usually pay me before I hang up the phone, or they give me a specific time and date they're going to pay me. Because see, what people are looking for when they hire you, they want a solution, they want to save time, and they want to negate frustration. And if I'm on the phone fumbling, asking you all these asinine questions, that irritates most people. That irritates me. So it's kind of like, I'm coming to you, Wendy. You're supposed to be this professional, but then it looks like you're all over the place. And then this is why when people get on the sales conversation and they feel like they lose control, or it's an hour long just to get the client. But if you organize it and you put it into a client intake form, and then you have a system to follow once you get on the phone with them, it's easy to close the deal.
So what kind of questions should we have on our intake forms?
I
know they're going to be different based on what you offer and everything, but give us some kind of an idea.
Right. So I'll give you the framework. The framework I tell my clients are, what do you need to know in order to best serve your client? So for me, I always look at my client success path. I always think about what are all of the products and services that I have in my arsenal that can help. So my general client intake form, I'm just trying to understand if they are an entrepreneur, how long they've been doing it, what specific struggles are they having right now, what are their potential goals that they're having, because a lot of times when people talk about their goals, that will help me to pinpoint what questions I need to ask so that I can look at, well, what have you been doing? Why hasn't that worked? You're currently looking for a solution now. What does this new solution look like in your head? So basically, you really want to understand on that client intake form before they pay you, what is their situation? What are their goals? What is the gap, meaning what's preventing them from reaching those goals they just defined? And then you want to ask them, what is their sense of urgency and level of commitment? Because sometimes people simply are just shopping and they're just gathering intel to make a decision. Most people who fill out a form, they have an immediate need. They're just trying to make sure if you're the right fit. And then since the commitment I have on my form, hey, my services start at this dollar amount and it goes up to here. If you find that this professional relationship is a good fit, are you in a position to make an investment?
So you actually put your prices on your intake form.
I sure do. It's a range between $97 to $3,500 because I need them to understand that once they submit that button, they're going to be getting on the phone with me to determine if they're going to hire me. And my intake form goes to one step further. Once they submit it, my system will automatically send them an email. Mm-hmm. So some people think, and I'm telling my secret, some people think I pick and choose who I'm going to talk to for that free 30-minute session. No. If you fill out the form and submit it, my system will give you a link to book a time to speak with me. And I have a disclaimer. And the disclaimer specifically states, hey, this meeting is so that you can determine if I'm a good fit for you to hire. I will answer general questions, but this is not a pick my brain session. I reserve my professional resources for my paying clients.
Interesting. So this is not a strategy session. This is a discovery call solely to see if you guys are a fit for each other.
That is correct.
So I just want the listeners to understand there's a huge distinction here. This is not a free coaching session. This isn't I'm going to answer one specific question for you. This is total pure sales call.
Right. Total pure sales call. And the reason why I do it, what happens is it prompts those people to automatically go over to my website. They start doing research. 9 times out of 10, when they get on the phone with me, they straight up say, Wendy, I already know that I want to hire you. I just don't know which package I need. Just tell me what I need to buy.
So do you discourage the strategy sessions then?
It's just not a good fit for me. I'm not gonna, I don't do free strategy sessions because that really leaves the client hanging. And I can ask you a lot of questions on the front end, but there's still deeper work to be uncovered for me to give them a complete plan. So it's kind of like I have picked my brain session where people can pay me a certain dollar amount and they can ask me questions.
Okay.
But even for that, I prep them for that. I look at it like this. If somebody is going to come to me, I want to offer them an all-inclusive package. Regardless of the dollar amount that they spend with me, I want to make sure that when they get off the phone with me or when they're done working with me, they have the tools they need in place to implement.
Understood. Interesting. Okay, this is really interesting. I'm sitting going, God, am I doing everything wrong?
No. But it's it took me a long time to get here. And I've changed my programs a lot, and we can talk a lot about that once I go through here. But I understand people. I understand buyer psychology. Like, I used to have an offer where people would pay me $247 for a 90-minute strategy session. And now I'm very organized and systematic, and I would extract all this information. They would show up to the call, and I would deliver the plan of action. And then at the end, I would answer the questions. They would be excited, but I can tell in their eyes they were overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah.
I want $247. I realize they know all of this stuff, but they still have questions. They need help with the implementation part of it. So I just took away that entire offer, and I decided these people need help. I'm giving them all of these things to do. I'm explaining to them how to do it and why, but they're still lost. So then I created something that I call Operation Get Shit Done. Now, and I've evolved this over the past 6 months. I first gave them a 90-minute strategy session. Then over the period of 6 weeks, they would implement with me in a group setting. We would still talk about their individualized goals. And then I realized even that 90 minutes was still too much. So then I broke it down into 2 45-minute strategy sessions, one so that they can get started, and then 3 or 4 weeks into working with me, we'll get back onto Zoom, and then we'll hash out anything else that they need. And then, there's just been other things I just kept adding to the mix to make sure that people got what they needed, so that by the time they're done with me in 6 weeks, they have a new product, they have a new service, they've increased their sales, they've been able to close deals, and people don't need no more information. Hello?
Okay.
Yeah, I was
like stopped right there. Boom, done.
I was like, people don't need any more information. I have courses like every other entrepreneur.
Sure.
But I think the problem with us today, we're in information overload, and people are not doing the work. So I wanted to create an incubator to where people were doing the work.
Okay.
I'm going to move on to the second one really quick. No opt-in for clients to pay or schedule. So here's an example. Today I went on to Groupon because I need my carpet cleaned in the house. I purchased a Groupon, and then I went and followed the directions. When I went online, the worst thing that can ever happen to a service-based entrepreneur is missing out on an opportunity to make more money or answer your client's request on demand. Mm-hmm. So I went to this person's website. There was a whole lot of stuff going on with this website I won't go into today, but all he had was his phone number. There wasn't even an email. Even if I wanted to pay him, I couldn't, even though I went on to Groupon and paid over there. And I thought, I wonder how many other people are stumbling across this website and he's missing out on business. And so what I thought to myself, I called him, I left him a voicemail with my phone number. So now I just have to wait until he finds time to call me back, even if he gets the voicemail, because we know sometimes there's mystery voicemail. We leave a voicemail and people don't get it.
Right.
What would have made more sense was if I would have been able to go to his website and being able to enter in my Groupon code, then it could have given me access to a calendar so that I can see his availability. I could book my time, get a confirmation, and of course, before him coming out to and then book a confirmation, then get an email letting me know the directives that I need to make sure my house is in order so he can show up, do his job in a time span. I can go back to doing what I'm doing. He can move on and work another client. I see a lot of service-based entrepreneurs who, for whatever reason, they don't want to list prices on their website. They don't want to offer an opportunity for you to pay them. Then it's constantly like the other ladies who reached out to me to do podcasts. Like, I don't even want to do it because it's been a constant, but when you're available, when it's this time. I don't, like you just said to me before we started, I don't know my own calendar. I get Google alerts and it tells me when I'm supposed to show up for my clients. Exactly. I don't even know what my week looks like next week. I already think it's halfway booked solid, but I can click a button and see. I don't know what I'm doing. I make sure that every Sunday I put all of my personal things on there so that I don't overbook with my business endeavors. And so that's a huge downfall. The third thing that people are doing that's ruining them is no structured sales conversation. So we talked about this in brief. When I get on the phone with someone, I'm looking for specific things. Now, I don't have a script, but there's a formula that I take all of my clients through because I'm looking. And the premise, again, is I'm trying to understand, Wendy, what do you need to know in order to best serve the client? So I always ask open-ended structured questions so that I can understand what is their situation. I'm looking for, well, we're on social media. I know we're connected on social media, but I'm always thinking, what was it that I did that caught her attention? A lot of times when you know that, it kind of lets you know the mindset of your prospect. They also will start to vomit other things, and I'm just listening. But mainly, I'm looking to see why she's even looking for a solution in the first place. 9 times out of 10, if you ask people the right questions, they're going to tell you what you need to know without having to ask 10 million questions. So she's going to tell me. The second thing, and I call this the 5 gates of closing. I also refer to this as the yes formula. The second series of questions I'm going to ask her, I'm looking to understand what her goals are.
Right.
And I use this in the intake form. I use it in the formula that people look at on my website. I'll use it in everything. So I'm looking to understand what her goals are because that person could have been feeling overwhelmed when she came to me. She could have had a bad day. She could have had someone tell her that her vision is not going to happen. When you start having someone talking about goals, it gets them focused. It gets them inspired. They no longer worry about what they can't do. They're looking at, well, okay, Wendy, I'm dreaming again. Yes, this is what I want to create. Now, here's the trick. Regardless of where I'm at in this sales conversation, the person is going to tell you a lot. The trick is, do not respond to everything she says. I'm only going to have follow-up open-ended questions to those things that I know that I can control, meaning that I have a product or service that I can sell her to. That's where people mess up. They let people lead them down the rabbit hole. I'll let her talk her ears off because she needs to get that out of her system, but we're only going to focus on what's important to me, closing the sale. The third thing is I'm going to start asking her open-ended structured questions because I need to understand the gap. So the gap can be real or it can be perceived. And what I mean by that is the gap can be, well, maybe she hasn't had the financial resources to get the business tools she needs to grow or to go to those different workshops. Maybe she feels like her husband, brother, sister, cousin needs to give her the okay in order to move forward. Maybe she has some internal self-esteem issues. Whatever it is, I'm going to figure out what's keeping her stuck. I also need to look at, well, what have you tried to rectify the situation so that you can reach your goals? When you tried those things, what were your expectations? What are you looking for right now? I'm just asking her a series of questions to really understand. I'm like, Susan, you're clear on what your goals are. I'm just trying to understand why you haven't met them. It may be that she may say, well, Wendy, I just don't have time. Well, in that moment, I'll stop her and say, okay, walk me through what your day looks like. And she'll say, oh, I'll wake up at 6 o'clock and I'll do this and I'll do this and I'll take the kids. And then I will find pockets of time, but I tell her, during this time, this is when you need to be doing this.
Right.
I never thought about that. And I just let her talk. And it may be other stuff that she brings up. And again, another thing I do throughout this conversation, I respond to what they don't say. If she takes a long time to answer me at any given time, I'm going to address it. You hesitated on answering me. I think you're lying. Give me the real answer. You hesitated. You're doing this. You're doing that. I will address it in the moment. And they'll
actually come right out and say, I think you're lying. Give me the right.
That is correct.
You are so in your face. I love it.
Right. Also, I think you're lying because for whatever reason, people treat me like I'm some robot or perfect or something. And I'm like, I'm human and normal just like you. I'm no better than you. I'm just clear on who I am and what I want and who I do it for. And so they'll normally say, well, Wendy, I just don't want to let you down. They say crazy stuff to me. And so my goal in this conversation to make it a human conversation. I need them to know that I'm here for them. I'm hearing them. And I need them to be 100% authentic if they want to be helped, period. And so I'll learn all of that. Then the fourth questionings I'll go into, I'm trying to understand the level of commitment and their sense of urgency. So in that conversation, I'm trying to understand, well, are you looking at any other solutions right now? If you have looked at any other solutions other than what I have, why is that something that is of interest to you? If you tell me that you want to get started 6 weeks from now or 2 weeks from now, why that timeline? What do you have going on that's making you wait 6 more weeks before you could hire me? And then that's when they start telling me all their personal business. Well, when do I need to pay this bill or do this or that? And then see, here's the thing. When you ask certain questions and they become personal and they respond in my head, that gives me permission to ask more intimate questions.
Sure.
Then I'm going to start asking, okay, let's talk about your budget. How much you get paid? Let's talk about where your bills are going. I do ask all these questions because I know I'm going to ask for the sale. And she tells me all kind of hoopla throughout this time. Because while she's talking to me, now I'm thinking, okay, these are my products in my head while she's talking to me. I know my different price points. She said all these things to me. She needs this, but she can't afford that. Oh, okay, I got something I'm going to pitch to her. So I'm done talking to her at this point. I've heard her, she's heard me, but really I've just asked her questions. And I just summarized everything that she's told me. Sometimes that makes her remember that she forgot to share something. And so if it's relevant, I'm going to ask her some additional open-ended questions to really understand the new information. And then I'll close up and say, hey, Tracey, here's what I've heard. Here's what you need, the product or service. Mm-hmm. Here's why you need it, because I'm telling her exactly the benefit and result it's going to do, and I align it with her current situation. The investment is $997. Are you in a position to make an investment today? She normally is already going to have her credit card out and she's paying, or she'll say, Wendy, can you give me a payment plan? Or Wendy, I'm going to get paid on this day and I'll have it on this day. That's it. Here's why the yes formula works. I know everything that I need to know about you. There's no way a person can tell me no because we've had an entire healthy conversation.
Wow. I've got so many notes to take. I'm just sitting here going, okay, I can't keep looking down at my paper and writing notes. People are going to think I'm not paying attention.
It's okay. It's okay.
Like scribbling like crazy here.
It's okay.
No, this is some kick-ass stuff. I'm telling you what. Let's talk about fulfillment now.
Okay. So a fulfillment game plan. Here's what I feel like is what keeps a lot of entrepreneurs playing small, and number one reason why they're overwhelmed. Because one of the things I hear a lot, they'll say, "Oh, Wendy, I want to take on more clients, but I can't. I just don't know how I'm going to handle it." For me, the reason why I'm so systematic, you need to always know where you're leading a client, and you need to have a plan for every step inside of your business. So let's take me for an example. I'm a client decides she wants to work with me. She goes to my website, she clicks the link pops up, she pays the button. Every client has questions. Well, Wendy, I paid you all this money. Now what? I'm not going to piss her off and by not answering her. She's going to automatically get an email. That email is going to be the welcome email. And in that email, I'm going to set the expectations of the professional relationship throughout the duration of the time that she has paid for. I already know that I need additional things from her to service her, to keep her busy so that I can get her what she needs so that I can deliver on the promise. And so what happens with a lot of entrepreneurs, people pay them, but then they have to stop what they're doing. They have to go gin up an email. And every time they do this, it's a different format every time. I say, stop it. Sit down and write out your client onboarding sequence. What do they need? What do you need from the client in order to serve them? I know that my clients fill out a lot of their pre-work in Woofu or Typeform. Take some time to sit down and write that stuff out, put it in an email, make it automatic. With my private clients, I work with them in Basecamp. So whenever they pay me, I already have templates set up so that I can just plug and play their information in there and it's ready to go. And once they log on to this email, they have access to the pre-work. They have access to the private Facebook group that we're going to be corresponding in. They have access to anything that we're going to be doing throughout that time.
I never thought about that, adding them to your project management system.
Yes.
And having a set of tasks already going.
Yes. Yes. It saves time. You cannot scale your business and grow at warp speed if you're fiddling with all of the minute administrative work. So my clients get frustrated when they come to me at first. Oh my God, Wendy, I cannot believe you do all of this. I said, sit down. Get everything set up. It's going to take you a few weeks to get all of this hashed out. I said, but once it's set up, then you can plug and play people left and right, and you can spend more time working with your clients. Now, I love working with clients, and I love the sales and marketing. Most people hate that. I can't stand the admin. So fulfillment. So I guess even for a product, let me give you another example really quick. I talk to people who are bakers or they're chefs and they want to scale their business. And so I start to ask them questions and they always look dumbfounded to me. And I'll say, okay, you make these cupcakes. Have you sat down and priced what the ingredients are going to cost you? Do you have a specific vendor that you're buying them for them? They're like, oh, I just go to the store. I said, stop doing that. If you're buying a different product to make these cupcakes, then if I'm a buyer and I buy these cupcakes from you and they're good, and then the second time I order, there's a different taste.
Because you use different products. Yeah.
I said, that is the problem. That's a fulfillment issue. I said, you need to sit down and you need to work out an agreement with a vendor, and you need to know what the cost per ingredient is going to be, because that's going to be a baseline of what you price your products and services at. 2, you need to know how long it's going to take you to bake or cook each dish. You need prep time. You need to know how long each cupcake needs to take to cool down, to know that exact timing of the cooling so that you can ice it so that the icing goes on there perfectly. I promise you, people don't think about this. And they be like, oh my God, when I never thought about it. I said, how do you think that you're going to get to $5,000, $4,000, $3,000 a month if you don't even have a process? This is systems and processes, people, to follow to make sure that you can deliver on that high-end order. What if this is a catering gig? You can't possibly meet that demand if you don't even know the baselines of how you make your magic.
I think systems and processes scare people. They used to terrify me. I'm not stupid, right? But used to say create a system for me, and my eyes would just glaze over, and my head would explode because I overcomplicated it. I thought, okay, oh my God, now I've got to sit down and make this elaborate freaking plan. I don't even know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
People, this is a set of instructions. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, with the bakers, I'm sure we've all looked at a recipe. These are the steps that you have to take so that when you pull the cake out of the oven, it's going to look nice, right?
Look nice, taste nice, and there's a consistency of deliverables, and there's a reason why we go to Cami Cakes or we go to Krispy Kreme, because the product is the exact same regardless of where we go in the country. And as small business owners, what I like to do is I want my clients to be able to operate like Fortune 100 or Fortune 500 companies. I think sometimes when we work from home, because I work from home, people think they need to skip out on the details, or it needs to be a subpar experience. And then, I get irritated when I see other entrepreneurs charging premium rates, but they don't have systems and processes in place. There's no standard order or operations or anything. And it's kind of like, you can demand whatever you want in the marketplace if you just get the fundamentals together.
Right. And if you can't do it, you don't know how to do it, you don't have the first clue to do it, hire somebody. Mm-hmm. There's virtual assistants out there who thrive on this kind of stuff. They will take all the information you puke on them, and they will create this beautiful system for you so that you can take it and do whatever you need to do with it.
That's right. And then the last thing I'll share with you guys today before you drill in is no follow-up or nurture plan of action. So let's talk about really what follow-up is, because I think a lot of times people equate follow-up to only when a sales transaction has happened, meaning that there's money in hand. But a follow-up is something simple as, I saw someone like a post on social media. One of the reasons why I get a lot of clients, because when I see you like a post, I'm going to come talk to you. If I see that you have shared my post, I'm going to come talk to you. That's following up, and we're going to have a conversation. And a lot of times I close sales a lot inside of the direct messenger on Instagram or on Facebook, because I follow up. Person inquires with me, I give them information, and they don't do it. I make sure that I take some time every week to go back to them. And what I do is I continue the conversation. I don't go in their inbox, be like, hey, Tracey, how you doing? That is so fake. Don't do that. I go in the inbox to be like, hey, Tracey, we talked about XYZ. What you doing? And she will continue the conversation. Like one lady I talked to the other day, I inboxed her and I was like, hey, did you talk to your husband? What does your husband say? Because she needed to get permission from her husband to make the investment.
Sure.
He controls the money. And she responded to me and I said, did you talk to him about X, Y, and Z? Oh, I forgot about that. Let me go back to him. Well, she didn't get back to me the next day. So 2 days later, I went back to the inbox and I had another conversation. Did you talk to your husband about X? Yes, Wendy, we really want to hire you, but we just don't know when we're going to hire you. And I was like, I'm confused. What? I thought you were ready to do this. We were talking about X. You can't have X, Y, Z result until you do this. You're nowhere near close to having that done. So why are y'all waiting to hire me? And so she never gave me a clear answer. Her answer was, well, Wendy, we just want to get as much done on our own. And I thought, well, you don't know what to do. And so I just kind of left it alone. So it boils down to, it's a money issue. He doesn't want to let go of that money. One of them don't want to let go of the money. Right. And so I will leave her alone. A few weeks later, I'm going to ask her, hey, girl, you told me you were going to be doing this. Tell me how your goals have been going on. And she's either going to have a progress report or she's going to be still stuck at where she is now.
Or she'll be embarrassed to respond and you won't ever hear from her again.
That is correct. But I'm very specific. But follow-up, it's a series of things. A lot of times if I've talked to a person, we've had an actual live conversation, I send them an email. I recap everything we talked about and I give them a link to pay in the email. And that's a lot where people are missing. You can't just follow up with people and not give them a directive or a call to action. I say, hey, click here to register. 9 times out of 10, they click it and they register.
Okay.
So a lot of people just have a conversation. They get discouraged when they don't get a yes or when the payment is not rendered immediately. And people have to understand that even though we live in a world of social media, we meet a lot of people on social media. That's how we met. We're still humans. Humans still want that personal connection.
Oh, yeah.
You still need to meet people where they are and have a conversation and allow them to know, like, and trust you. I would say on average, a lot of people are on my email list or they have followed me on social media anywhere from 6 to 9 months, even before they even book a 30-minute complimentary session. Mm-hmm. And the number one thing people say to me, I'll ask them, why did you decide to connect with me? And they say, well, Wendy, you're consistent. You show up every day. You're always teaching us something. You're always making me think. And I tell my people, if you can make people think, you got them. Because when you make people think, they start asking you the right questions, and then you can gain control of the sales conversation from the very start.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is this is really different from all my other episodes, because usually, there's a lot of interaction, a lot of banter, and a lot of, me asking questions. And on here, I'm just like soaking it up. I'm like, I don't want to ask a question. Just keep talking. Don't shut up. Forget I'm even here. So, okay, this is some really good stuff, guys. I don't know about you, but I've got to go back and listen to this again and take more notes. So we talked a little bit in the beginning about, the difference between the sales call and the strategy session. And, you said that they don't work for you. And I get that. I'm the kind that I do the free strategy sessions. And I think part of the reason for that is I'm still new in the coaching arena. I've been a virtual assistant for 10 years. I've built the 6-figure business. I know what I'm talking about and I know what I'm doing. But in the coaching arena, I'm brand new again, right?
I want to stop you right there. When I first got started in coaching, now I've been doing this 3-4 years, but I will tell you and your listeners, when I got started, I did over 60 free sessions. So yeah, you're doing it to build credibility.
Exactly.
So they'll know that you know what you're talking about, and you give them enough to where if they don't buy, they can at least go implement and get a result. But
that's exactly
when they have questions, which is what we want, and then they come back and they hire you for the full shebang. So there's nothing wrong with that. I tell people there's no right or wrong way, but it's like at this point I have so many, not only just written testimonials, but now I have a lot of video client testimonials. Mm-hmm. And I purposely like to work with different types of people, whether they're new in business. A lot of my newer clients, they're already 6-figure earners coming to me.
Right.
They just want to scale.
And that was going to actually be a question that I had for you, was how important is it for you to know who your ideal client is? Do you have an ideal client?
Yes. So my ideal client, my client avatar have scenarios. What I see what a lot of people do that stomp them, they'll say, oh, when I work with women and they're 18 to 30 and they're Black or white or something crazy. And so I always look at it as I'm a little bit different. You want to look at what level of transformation are you willing or are you equipped to help them to accomplish? So for me, I'm always looking at what is your situation? Because when I talk about my client avatar in their situation, it helps them to easily identify, oh yeah, that's Wendy. That's me, Wendy. That's what I'm dealing with. That's the goal I want to achieve, or that's the problem I'm really trying to get rid of. But if you don't know how you help people, then that's going to be stopped. Now, it took me 3 years to get clear on who I am, what I did, who I serve, and why. Because when I first got started, I was just a certified life coach. And then I realized I'm not a life coach. I mean, that's just not my cup of tea. And then I've been in sales ever since I was 16. I've had a lot of upper management jobs. And I always told myself, well, if I ever am a boss of anything, I've always been focused on order of operations.
Right.
And so once I started hiring people to help me grow my business, and I really hated the customer service aspect of it. And I thought, damn, I just paid you $5,000 and I still got all these questions and I got to wait 2 or 3 days for this or that. Like, that's crazy. And so I said to myself, no one is teaching this.
Right.
I don't know why no one's talking about this, or they'll pick a few things when it comes to systems and processes, but they don't go over everything. And for me, when I talk about systems, it's everything. It's your sales conversation. It's how you're giving people to know, like, and trust you. It's your interaction. It's how you're servicing them. It's how you're fulfilling the product or service. It's how you nurture them before and after so that they can bring you referrals. To me, that's a complete system. And a lot of people, they just have a certain expertise, and that's fine. But I think every service-based entrepreneur needs to make sure that they have a definitive method that they can follow in every aspect of their business. And even if they don't want to do it themselves, they need to define it so that they can hand it off to a virtual assistant. Because one thing people fall short on, they think, oh, I'm going to hire a virtual assistant, and then they get pissed off because the virtual assistant doesn't know what to do. Hello, people. You need to understand that you have to train and develop the VA so that she'll know what to do for your business.
Right.
And she can't just pick up and just create stuff at random for your business. Now, she can be organized and know how to ask the right questions to do some things, but you're going to need to be able to hand that stuff off. And I tell my clients, if you're looking for a quick fix or you want to give me want me to give you the answer, I don't have the answer until you tell me what you want.
This is very true.
Then we can build it out.
I can't tell you how many people would send me some kind of a task and it was very generic. There was no information. I was brand new to the company. I didn't know where to find the answers myself because I always try to find the answers myself. And it drags things out. Even now I still get it. It drags things out because it's like, now I've got to go ask you 50 questions. We've got to email back and forth. We've got to get onto a phone call or, just be clear. Mm-hmm. Know what you want. And if you don't have those systems in place, 2 things I recommend. One, if it's some kind of a recurring task, like how to set up your newsletter or how to do this, do it once, videotape it while you're doing it, send that over to your virtual assistant. Now they have a video, they know how to do everything.
Right.
Or, have them create the processes as they're actually doing the work.
Right. But that's something that has to be drilled into the general public because I think the perception of a VA is completely wrong. It's, I'm going to hire her and basically she's going to run my business.
Years ago, I was hired by somebody to run her business. And I was a week in to this. I was still trying to figure out everything in her business. When you come on as an online business manager, it takes a good 30 days to really get in and figure out and learn somebody's business. I was a weekend and she fired me because I wasn't able to just pick up and start running her business. And I was like, you know what? Good luck with that.
Yeah, those are the business owners that really need to be educated. You have to create harmony in your team. Mm-hmm. You have to be clear and concise on what you're doing. But here's what a lot of service-based entrepreneurs are missing. They're copying everyone, but they don't know the why behind why they do it. And so I take it a step further. When I teach my clients how to sell with these systems, I tell them, you don't have to do it exactly the way that I do it, and I don't want you to do it the way that I do it. I'm going to give you the fundamentals. I'm going to explain to you why you need them. But I need you to build out your systems and processes in a way that makes sense to you because you're the one who's going to have to adhere to this over and over again. I want to make sure that it's in your head and it's ingrained. Boom, step 1, boom, 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 boom.
Right.
So if you want to take some of this stuff out of order, I don't care, but you need some type of system to follow so that you can run at warp speed versus talking about, I don't know. And then your self-confidence is hurt because you don't know.
Yep. Oh, Wendy, this is good stuff. Okay. So we're at 45 minutes in. I want to be very mindful of our listeners' time and your time as well. So let's recap really quick. The 5 things that we're doing that are going to cause our business to fail. And I'm guilty of a couple of these. So after we get off the call here, I've got some work to do. No intake form.
Right.
No way for them to just pay or schedule on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
No structured sales conversation. No fulfillment after they come on board, and no follow-up or nurture plan.
Yep.
So
those are the cardinal sins.
I'm telling you, everybody out there, y'all got some work to do, because I know none of us have all this. Because if we were, we wouldn't be listening to Wendy right now. We'd be teaching it ourselves.
Right.
So thank you so much for coming on and imparting this wisdom with us. This has been, I was so excited. I know that you were like, at one point in here, you said something about, I want to know what drew people to me. And for me, it was, I saw just the stuff that you post on Facebook, and I'm like, man, this girl's got it going on. She's got a personality. She is a no frills, no fluff person. And that is exactly the kind of person that I love talking to. So thank you. You did not disappoint at all.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I hope you got as much out of it as I did. I'm going to go back and listen to this again and make more notes and go make some changes in my business, because I'm not going to fail. So, all right, we'll talk to you in the next episode. Thanks, everybody.